We are live. For those of you listening, thanks so much for joining in. Again, we are Planeta Patineta and we're here broadcasting live at SAIC's Free Radio. This is our second episode and I am so excited to introduce to you our second guest. I'm going to give this spiel in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking folks. Let's see how it comes out. It's the first time. Bienvenidos al segundo episodio de Planeta Patineta. Estoy muy emocionada para presentarles nuestra invitada que tenemos aquí, nuestra segunda invitada al show. Aquí tenemos a Becky Zerlin. Here we have a great friend of mine, Becky Zerlin. How are you, Becky?
I'm good, thank you, Janet. I understood that.
Yeah, you did?
I did.
What did I say?
Second show, inviting me on and all that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got
it. You got it. So I guess I want to start off the show kind of like telling folks or like even like looking back at how it is we met. And I don't know if you remember that, but I remember it. I remember I was at the Cicero Bowl with like Lillian and a couple other girls. Mm-hmm. And then you just like showed up by yourself with your helmet. You sat down next to it. So I assumed like someone knew you in the crew.
I don't think anybody did.
And then nobody did. And then you just started shredding. And I was like, who is this person? Like, I need to know who this person is. Like, I want to be friends with this person so I can learn from this person. And then I think I like went up to you and was just like, you know, talking to you or something like that. And then I remember you asked me about like, hey, how do you do that? Or like, how do you do these one tricks? So I think after that, we just started hanging out and going to Cicero Bowl together.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Mm-hmm. It was still like really new for when I first started skateboarding. I had gone to Cicero Bowl with a group of other skaters. And so that had to have been, I had only been there a handful of times, and I probably had already met Noe. Mm-hmm. And so I think he was there that day, or no?
I don't remember if he was there that day. Maybe later on.
I don't know, but like I would always see him there. So like even if I was going by myself, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna see him or I'll make new friends.
And that was like 2 years ago, right?
It was about 2 years ago because it was like right when I started getting
wild.
into it.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen you progress. And it's just really exciting to look back in retrospect and like remember when we started this like journey in like our skate lives.
Yeah, but I could say the same for you too, because I remember when you couldn't carve the bowl. And here you are shredding any bowl that you go into.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely bowls. It's like you have to learn the ways and get comfy and like just have your body understand like the memory of the bowl.
Yeah. Exactly.
So tell us about your skating, your surfing, and your snowboarding, because I know you do it all. You're definitely like a board sports person, and how you got into that, how you started doing board sports, why you fell in love with it.
The first board sport I did was snowboarding. My parents skied a bit when they were younger, and so when me and my brother were old enough, they were like, we're going to take you to a mountain and you can snowboard or you can ski, it's up to you. I don't remember who chose snowboarding for me, but that's what I did. Mm-hmm. And we went to California to Big Bear Mountain, and that's where I learned. And so I got...
Where's Big Bear Mountain at?
I think it's like North California.
Okay, cool. Is it like up like by Sacramento or like up more up there?
No.
Like geographically trying to understand.
No idea.
Been snowboarding Cali. Okay, cool. Bear Mountain. Okay.
Big Bear?
Big Bear? Okay.
Now you're making me second guess. And I think it's called Big Bear.
Okay.
We can look it up after this and figure it out. I don't remember much. I just remember sticking on the bunny hill, and my snowboard must have been like probably that big because I was like, a little girl doing it.
Wait, so how old were you then?
Probably in grade school.
Oh, nice.
I was a small little girl.
Yeah. Fearless at that age.
Oh, yeah, because you're made of rubber. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no fear, yeah.
So I did that, and then it had been a long time since I snowboarded a little bit in college, I think. And then at some point in junior high, I was at a soccer tournament in California, and we had time in between games, and we decided to go surfing. And I got a surf lesson at La Jolla Beach, and I just remember being like, this is the greatest thing. Like when you feel yourself catching a wave, it's like Mother Nature is like just pushing you and you're harnessing its power and like it like directing it where you want to go. It's just an amazing feeling. And so I just fell in love with it that first trip. And so we would continue to go back to San Diego for this one soccer tournament. And so I would surf. And then that kind of took a break for a bit. And when I got into college, snowboarded a little bit, like I said. And then it wasn't really until I moved to New York when I started making my own money, where I could be like, this is what I want to do and this is how I want to invest my time. And so I kind of started doing snowboard trips and then surf trips, which was, a little bit more involved because you got to go specific places for it, not just like Colorado or Utah or upper New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you start off skiing? Because I know some people do either or they like start off one and then they figure out they enjoy the other one.
No, I started snowboarding and stuck to it. I can't imagine having my legs not stuck together going down a mountain. I think I would do the splits. I don't think it would be pretty.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I don't want to.
Yeah. So I know that you were doing soccer. How, like, do you still enjoy soccer? Was it something that's just like in the past and you enjoyed it for like as long as you did it, but then you just kind of grew out of it?
Kind of grew out of it. I started when I was really young, and I did gymnastics a little bit, and then got introduced to soccer. My brother was playing in AYSO around the Chicagoland area, and of course I wanted to do what he did, and so my parents put me into soccer. I was a hyper kid, and so like it was good because all I did was run around and kick a ball, and then I would be quiet at home. But I started getting really good at it. And so like any other sport, any other activity kind of fell to the wayside very early on for me. And then my dad noticed that I was really good. And so it kind of turned into what team should we move her to see how far we could take this. Yeah. Because when I grew up, it was like Mia Hamm era. And she was like the greatest female women's soccer player, and Brandy Chastain and all that stuff. Like, remember when they won, it was either the Olympics or the World Series for women, like somebody scored a goal and she like ripped her shirt off and slid in her sports bra, and it was like such an iconic moment. That's when I grew up. And so like the possibilities for women's soccer at that point was like endless. Yeah. So my dad really invested time and energy into it and wanted to put me in the best possible scenarios to give me a future in soccer. And so he moved me to different teams so that I could like eventually be seen by college recruiters and ODP, which is Olympic Development Program. It's like the track that you go take to get to the Olympics and whatnot.
Ooh. So then you kind of grew up having this strong discipline in sports.
Yeah.
Very disciplined.
Yeah. And the thing that I will say about that is that it did burn me out because it was such a focus for so long and it was all I did, that by the time I got to college, I was just kind of like, I don't feel the passion anymore. I got a scholarship and it just kind of felt like a job.
And that happens a lot too with some people that invest so much time in like one sport, and they get to college and they're like, well, this is it.
Yeah, and then you kind of go through this like identity crisis where you're like, I don't know who I am without this sport. And you kind of got to figure it out. And it's hard. But yeah, soccer was a big part of my life. Loved it. Still have love for it. Can't technically play anymore because I hurt my knee and I didn't get surgery. So there's specific things that I would need to do, like go to physical therapy to work on cutting and like, stopping sprinting and changing direction, that the ACL that I'm missing in this leg is responsible for. So I can't safely do it now. And I think because I'm not allowed to do it, I want to do it. Yeah. Because so many people invite me to play pickup games and join the leagues, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. I did want to talk about your injury, but I also wanted to briefly ask about weightlifting, because I think the time that I met you, you were still doing some lifting. You were still doing weightlifting or like CrossFit, right? So tell me more about that, because I thought that's amazing. And like, Yeah, you built so much endurance, and I look at you and I'm like, I wish I was ripped like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So after soccer, college ended, I needed something like my personal well-being, like I need some physical activity. And at that point I had found CrossFit, and it still filled that like competitive void. Mm-hmm. And it was also a way to stay in shape and be relatively healthy. Mm-hmm. So I got really into it when I moved back here from New York. And then I got really strong really fast and good at it, and so I started competing in it, and then I just kept getting injured and whatnot. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, CrossFit is a little silly if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. If you don't have your ego in check, it's very easy to hurt yourself. I mean, you have these movements that are the Olympic lifts, which is the snatch and the clean and jerk. People go to the Olympics for just these two lifts. That is their sport. That's what they dedicate. And then you have CrossFit that's like, let's do these two movements back to back to back to back to back, high repetitions of really heavy weight, and you're expecting people to not get hurt. It's kind of silly in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you retired from that? Like, do you do it every now and then? You're just like, I did that, I'm done.
I'm kind of done with it, honestly. It was a fun community to be a part of, and it definitely taught me a lot about weightlifting and just like staying in shape on my own, which is what I do now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm over it. Once I started skateboarding, I was like, do I want to spend my time in a gym, or do I want to spend my time outside in this new sport that I'm really enjoying with friends? Yeah. And it's like when you're in a CrossFit gym, when you're trying to be a competitive CrossFitter, you're in the gym for like 3 hours
on a given day.
It's like you have your gymnastics work, because there's a lot of gymnastics involved in it, and you can sometimes break it up into 2 different sessions. Like, I'd go to the gym early in the morning, work on my gymnastic stuff, which was exhausting in of its own. Mm-hmm. And then you'd go back and you'd do weightlifting, and let's say that lasted like an hour. And then you would do a conditioning piece, which is it could be anything, like rowers, bikes, and then weightlifting combined, and like that's like the competitive part of it. That's what the competitions are based around, is like the conditioning combined with the weightlifting and the gymnastics.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, and so it's like, really, how do I want to spend my time?
Yeah.
Being in a gym feeling like I'm dying?
Yeah.
Or being outside surrounded by friends and having fun?
Yeah.
I'm going to pick being outside and having fun with friends.
Yeah. Good community. You came to the right place.
I think so.
So I think this is a good segue to talk about how it is that you got into skateboarding and your story, how you got here.
Yeah. 2019. I was in Costa Rica surfing on a solo trip, and I kind of felt like things clicked for me on that trip, where it was easier for me to catch a wave, and I was judging things better, and I wasn't just like surfing on white water going straight to the beach. I was standing up and going sideways, which is, the first step to like carving and whatnot. And I was really, really excited about it, and I didn't want to wait another year to go again. So I got home and I started researching spots to go, and I decided I was going to go to El Salvador. Mm-hmm. And so I booked that ticket, paid a deposit on everything, was ready to go. And then it was the end of April, beginning of March 2020, and everything shut down because of COVID.
And that ruined your plans.
It ruined my plans.
Surf plans. Oh.
Yeah. Literally everything shut down. Chicago shut down.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, at that point, I was CrossFitting. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's not safe to be in a gym now. Mm-hmm. All the gyms are shut down anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And Instagram started advertising surf skates to me. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is interesting. Let me order one of these.
What are surf skates exactly?
So
those like shaped boards?
No, it's got a truck on it that completely rotates perpendicular. So as a normal skate truck rotates like this.
Those. Yes.
This one turns this way. So if you put enough like weight on your heel side, it'll trigger that front truck to turn like this.
But they're skates. It's not a skateboard.
It's a skateboard. It looks like a regular skateboard, but the front is different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you put enough weight on your heel side, it's going to turn this way. If you put enough weight on your toe side, it's going to turn this way. So instead of like doing a long carve on a skateboard, you can go like this without kick turning.
Oh.
So people use it to like train surfing.
Surfing, okay.
And that's what I was like, all of a sudden Instagram, like super grateful for that algorithm, started advertising it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is cool, I'm going to do it. And I bought one. It took about a month for it to ship because everything was shut down. And I got it, and I started skating around in neighborhoods, up people's driveways and like cutting back and whatnot. And I think that snowboarding allowed me just to be comfortable enough to just start doing that right off the get-go. And also surfing, obviously, because it's much more like surfing than snowboarding. So yeah, that's how I started doing it. And then I had never thought that I was gonna go into skate parks. It wasn't something that I was gonna do. It was just a way to kill time. And I started getting really bored just going on flat ground, like carving. And I found my way to this small little skate park and was teaching myself how to do kick turns and like kind of sliding on the walls a little bit, like power sliding up and down walls, because I saw a lot of people in Spain and Brazil doing it on these surf skates. And nobody was doing it really in the United States. And so this is what I was seeing, and I'm a visual learner. Like, I can see and try to duplicate. It's going to take me some time, but I can get it. And so I started doing that in this one little skate park. And then one day this dad came up to me and he's like, what is that? What are you skating? And so I told him, and I like, people loved that board. They wanted to ride it and feel what it felt like. They either loved it or they hated it. Most people hated it, but they were really interested in it. So people would always come up to me and ask me like what it is. So he was like, you should go to Northbrook, which I think is called Techni Park. Techni Park.
I've heard of it.
He's like, it's like banks everywhere. So you're going to be able to carve up and down those walls, and you're going to love it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I woke up, I think early that weekend or the next day, and I went there. And it was great. And I ran into this group of older skaters, and they were all super interested into it and asked me questions, and like we exchanged info, like Instagrams and whatnot. And so that was like the first group that I really skated with, was like a group of older skaters who grew up in the era of Dogtown and the Z-Boys. And so like I'm skating, putting my hands on the ground and like skirting around. They were really interested in it, and they loved it. And so I started skating with them, and then I found my way to Deerfield Skate Park, and they would go like every weekend.
Every Sunday, right?
Sunday morning, super early.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love those Sundays. Those are good Sundays.
But it's so early.
Yeah, it is early.
But that was my first group because the city was shut down. None of my personal friends skated. And so this was my introduction into skateboarding. And so one guy in particular, Kenny Sadler, really taught me how to skateboard during that first year. Further down the line, we switched to a regular skateboard, and that's when he like really taught me stuff. But that first group of skateboarders are the reason why I actually skateboard in skate parks and whatnot. And they brought me to Cicero, and then I think by that time I had moved back into the city, and I lived in Bucktown, where I'm at now, so it wasn't that far from me, so I felt comfortable enough going. And then I ended up meeting Noe, and then I met you, and so you were like my first peers that I met, and that's kind of where the beginning started. That winter, I couldn't be on the surf skate anymore, so a friend had a mini in his garage, and it was like kind of narrow. It's in the surf skate. Yeah, I could have ridden it, but there's not a whole lot that I could do on a mini, so I had to get a regular skateboard.
Yes, and then that's when you got like the surf one, right? The the shaped one, like the curvy shaped one?
No, that's the surf skate.
Oh, that was the surf skate.
That's the surf skate. Then I got a regular skateboard that first winter.
So you were dropping in with that surf skate one?
Yeah, you met me with the surf skate.
Wow, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And people were like, you can't drop in on that.
Yeah, I remember
because
you told
the front
me.
trucks are so squirrely. They're like, you can't do that.
Wait, I know what you're talking about. The front end is like really tiny, like it's pointy.
Yeah, so like the truck is literally like right under the nose of it. And that's just the specific board shape that I picked.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all like literally, like imagine your front truck being like, and this is the end of your nose. Not all of them are like that. But mine happened to be like,
Okay, I remember.
Yeah.
It's crazy you're dropping it on that. And then you had like really chunky wheels too, I remember, right? Mm-hmm. They were kind of like...
They were like longboard wheels.
Yeah, they were longboard wheels.
Yeah, I eventually switched them out to harder wheels so that I can do Burt slides better and easier, which are one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you were out there. You switched to a popsicle board.
Yes.
And then what happened there? How was that transition?
Oh my God! If you saw me, I couldn't push because I was so used to be able to generate momentum with the surf skate. It was pretty funny. We went to Fargo as a group. They rented it out early in the morning
with the older guys.
So it was just us, and I was like, oh, if I'm not in a mini and I'm not on my surf skate, I don't know how to push. Because on the surf skates, you never have to take your foot off the board and push because you can generate momentum by just this movement, mimicking surfing. And I was really worried about getting to Fargo and not being able to like push between elements.
I remember seeing those videos of you going like this, doing this, and I was like, how is she able to do that? Like that's so much momentum. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense though because you're really strong, so it's just it's easy for you.
Definitely a quad workout on the surf skate. If you ever need to like cross train for something, highly recommend it. Mm-hmm. But it ended up not being that big of an issue. I was worried for nothing. It's not that hard to take your foot off your board and push. Mm-hmm. I was just spoiled.
So how was Fargo that first time?
It was fun. At that point, I had been in my friend's garage trying to learn how to do 50-50 stalls. So I think that's like a majority of my time was spent focusing on that little mini. It was fun though.
And now you have like hell of a lot of tricks, right? Like you have 50-50 stalls, you have front side 50-50 stalls. Yeah. You have rocked fakie. Like you have a couple.
Yeah. I got like a nice little bag of tricks. Definitely want to make them bigger and be able to do them on different elements, not just like specific spots. Like when I go to Wilson, I love the pool, but I can't do my bag of tricks on it because I'm not used to how steep the walls are. So that's like future goals.
Future goals.
Yeah.
And then I do want to talk about when you tore your ACL.
Yeah.
Did you tore your ACL skating, right? Or did you also tear it when you were like CrossFit or soccer or something?
No, so that's like part of the most frustrating thing. ACL tears are so common in soccer and gymnasts for women because our femurs angle inward, which make your knees buckle, which is how they typically get torn. So I made it through all those years of fucking soccer. Yeah. And then CrossFit, and it didn't happen. And then it happens when I'm just like fucking, sorry, can I swear? Yeah. When I'm like fucking around Cicero Bowl. Yeah. Noe was there.
Yeah, Noe was there.
Noe was there. He was so nice about it. I was trying to learn, what is it called? When you go up fakie and then you spin and you come back down.
Fakie 180? Like...
Fakie rock?
Fake.
Yeah, but not getting above coping. I was like the beginning of it, like just staying on transition. Whatever, we'll call it fakie rock.
Isn't it a fakie 180? Like you're going fakie and then you turn.
I'm going fakie, and then I turn and I come back down fakie.
And so you rock and roll or rock.
You would eventually get your
it's
trucks.
Like half cab, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You'd eventually get your trucks up there.
Cab. Okay. Fakie half cab to rock. Yes.
There we go. Whatever you said, that's what it was. I was trying to learn that. Yeah.
And you had gotten it before.
I had gotten it before,
Yeah.
but it was like the beginning of getting comfortable
Yeah,
with it.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I wasn't trying to hit the coping or anything. I was just strictly doing it on transition.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And I got up there and I was like a little bit too close to the corner pocket of the shallow end at Cicero. And
Okay.
I just kind of lost balance and stepped backwards. And my knee went, so like the corner's here, I stepped backwards and my knee went like this.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And so this shin was more like that. And I felt the pop, instantly knew it was bad. And just kind of sat there.
Yeah.
No, he was so nice about it. He was just like, "Are you okay? What do you need?" I was like, "I just need to sit here for a moment."
Yeah, just absorbing.
Yeah. Didn't cry. Was just kind of
Nice.
like, "You fucked your shit up, but it might be okay."
Did it hurt? Were you like in so much pain?
It hurt.
Or was it numb?
It hurt, but it didn't hurt. I don't know, like breaking a bone. Like I wasn't screaming.
You've broken a bone before.
No, but like
Okay,
you know,
no, I just am
when
wondering.
people break bones, they're like, "Oh."
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't
can
screaming.
imagine, yeah.
I was just kind of like, you bent your knee funny. You felt the pop.
Yeah.
Something bad.
Yeah.
And like I didn't want to move it. And he was like, "What do you need?" And I kind of like took my pads off and handed him my skateboard, and then like got up and he helped me out of the bowl. I remember walking around a little bit. Couldn't like fully use it. But I
It
could
hurt
get
to
around.
walk.
Yeah, like
Okay.
something was definitely wrong with it. Yeah, and then kind of sat with him for a bit. And
Was
then
it was your left?
it's my front knee. So I'm regular,
right.
so it's
That's your
this
front
knee.
knee.
Yeah.
So you were still able to drive back home then?
Yeah. So, but the thing, oh my God. So my dad used to be a carpenter growing up, so he always has house projects at home. I needed to go and help dig a 16, like an 18-inch trench for him to run like copper wires into, like for a generator.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, and I didn't go home. I went to his house and was digging this trench with him with like a knee that's not working. And
did
I'm
you
like,
tell him?
Yeah, it's like something's wrong. And he's like, all right, like we got shit
Did
to
you tell
do.
him after? Or before? You told
No,
him
I told him before. Like I was limping. I was like, I messed it up. I did it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Like there's nothing I could.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything about it right then and there. But we dug that trench.
Yeah.
And then we had gotten close at by that time.
Me and you.
And you would reach out and say, hey, like, I heard you fell. Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, just give it some time. You know, I was in denial. And
Yeah.
like every week you would reach out to skate. And I was like, I'm not ready yet. I'm
And
sorry.
I remember you'd skate a little bit and then you'd stop. You'd be like, yeah, my knee's hurting.
That was after I
Yeah.
found out. Yeah, because I didn't skate for about a month. It took
Okay,
about a
okay.
month for me to get
That's
in
good,
for an
yeah.
MRI. You know, it got better. But it like I couldn't bend down all the way and it just felt funny. So it was about a month before I got in to see doctors for it. I went to see a physical therapist first because there's specific tests that they could do to see if your ligaments are loose, and they compare it to your other knee. So I went in. A lot of physical therapists do this. So if like anybody's ever gets hurt, you can find a physical therapist that offers free 30-minute sessions for injury screenings. And so that's what I did. And they did the test, and it's something like, you know, like holding the thigh and moving this, and like this one was looser. And he's like, you are testing positive for having a torn ACL. Go get an MRI and speak to a specialist and get a diagnosis, and that's going to tell you what you need to do. And so I got lucky. The next day I was able to get in for an MRI, and I like kept getting lucky. I was really grateful about this experience at Rush. I got in for the MRI, got breakfast, went back to meet with the doctor, and they're looking at the x-ray, and they're like, oh, this is good. You don't have any, there's no arthritis in your knees. This is good. But yeah, you definitely tore your ACL. They're like, there's some fibers still attached.
Fibers still attached? Yeah.
But it's torn. I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
yeah, what does that mean?
like how much percentage is
Yeah.
attached? And they're
Yeah.
like, we'd have to cut you open and look at it to tell, but it's a high grade tear, and you should go to physical therapy 3 times a week for a month, And then you can decide at that point, do you want surgery? Or did you get enough stability from physical therapy and you don't need surgery? But if at any point your knee buckles underneath you, you need to come right in for surgery because it's not going to be able to support your weight anymore. So I started physical therapy right away. And then that month went by and we didn't feel like we were fully done, but it didn't look like I needed surgery. Like I was gaining really good stability with just my thigh muscles and my hamstrings. And so that's kind of how it ended up going. Like I think I went probably for 2 to 3 months physical therapy, really working on balance and stability and strength. And I, to this day, haven't had surgery. The last test was hurdle hops with one leg and like diagonal jumping. And so I would do it with my right leg, which doesn't have the torn ACL. And then I would do it with my left leg. And I could jump further with my left leg after all of the work that we did on. And the stability was equal.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't need to have surgery, and hopefully that'll just be the case. And I just got to keep up with my PT.
Yeah, I was going to say, from that experience, do you have a pre-workout routine or physical therapy routine before you go out to skate or after?
Not really before. Like if I'm going skating that day and like my body's feeling really tight, like I'll do some specific stretches to loosen up areas that need to get loosened up. Foam rolling's great, like a lacrosse ball to get into those areas that are tight are great. But really, I just try to do specific exercises 3 times a week. And that's really focusing on my legs, on my butt muscles, my quads, and my hamstrings, and then also balance work in there, which is good because it's preventing the surgery, but it's also making... I'm not good enough right now to be skating things fakey. And a lot of people down the road are going to run into issues from imbalances from pushing only on one leg. Doing this stuff right now is kind of like preventative for injuries. And so it's making me more well-rounded and keeping me in shape. I don't need to go to the gym because I have all the knowledge from CrossFit and physical therapy. I can make my own workouts in my house. And it's fine. So, and I do Pilates, which is really good. There's actually a really funny story.
Yeah, do you want to tell us?
Yeah. During COVID, I found this woman on Instagram, and her name's Star Hawkins, and she's from Miami, covered in tattoos, big ass, great energy, always has fun music, and she would do these classes on Instagram Live, and that was around the time all the fitness places were doing them for free. And she decided that she wanted to kind of be in charge of her own destiny and got an OnlyFans to teach Pilates. It wasn't dirty, it wasn't anything. And so it was $30 a month, which is $1 a day. That's a great deal. And she did 5 or 6 workouts a week. So I signed up for that. And my credit card flagged it as fraudulent. And so they called the phone number they had on file. And that phone number was my parents' house. And so it wasn't even an automated person. It was an actual person being like, are you charging blah, blah, blah to your card for OnlyFans? And my mom's like, yes. She had no idea what it was. And I'm so happy I didn't have to have that conversation.
Yeah, so funny. Wow. That's a good one. That's a good story.
Yeah.
Switching over to, because I know you have a full-time job. Last time I interviewed Marlene, I was like, so you have a full-time job? Marlene's like, no, I do part-time. So I'm like, oh, okay. I almost assume everybody has a full-time job, but you work full-time.
Yeah.
And I know through just hanging out with you that sometimes your work is exhausting. Full-time jobs are exhausting. So how do you balance between having a work-life balance, whatever that is?
Oh, yeah.
Do you just skate weekends?
I definitely prioritize skating on the weekends. If I don't have plans Friday night, I work right by Wilson Skate Park, so it's very easy for me to leave work, get there in 5 minutes, skate. But Saturday and Sunday, definitely dedicate. Skating takes the priority for me. And then during the week, it's really whenever I can fit it in. I think you're really good about listening to your body and being like, my body's not feeling it. I'm not going to skate today. And that's important. Like, you need to listen to your body, because sometimes when you're tired, you're not going to react as fast as you need to. And in something like skateboarding, you need to be on it, because if you're not reacting that fast, how are you going to catch yourself when you fall and make a mistake?
Yeah. Also, for me, I don't want to drive out to a spot or like get there and just not feel good.
Yeah.
And, you know, and have my whole day kind of ruined. And like be upset at myself, you know? So I'll just like not go.
Yeah. Like, you got to think about all those things. And like, Chicago traffic sucks.
Yeah.
And
things that you got to deal with. So tell us about your recent skate trip. You went out to Wisconsin, which is like short trip. They're like down the road. But how was that? I'm sure you had a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so fun.
Yeah, tell us about it.
So me, Don, and Chris went up, and we were going to go camping, and Chris was like, let's hit up these skate parks. And we were all like, yeah, let's do it. So we like loaded up in the car, stopped at Deerfield on the way there. Went to Madison Skate Park, which was great.
Love Madison.
Oh my god, it was so fun.
Yeah.
I loved that pool in the back.
Yeah, me and Noe went, and we didn't skate that one. I didn't skate that one. I skated the more friendlier one.
Yeah.
But how did you like that other big pool?
I kind of like the shape of it better than the one with coping.
Okay.
But the fucking stairs, they scare me.
Yeah, that little, what is it called? The cake?
The little cake. Yeah.
Cake. So what did you like?
No, I just kind of avoided it.
Yeah.
We got some clips of me skating there, and it was pretty funny because you could definitely see that I had surfed and skated on a surf skate, because the way that like my body shot me out into that area was a very like surfing turn for me. It was like super powerful, like as if I was surfing and getting up on the lip and cutting back in. It was a good shape for me, but the deep end is like oververt a little bit. So it's like once you pump and you get up there, your like body needs to like adjust to it really quickly. So that was like a good learning experience for me. That other bowl, that was a little funny. Just the shape of it was funny, but the coping was really nice. I liked it. And then the whole plaza for like the ledges and everything else. I wish I was good at that stuff, because literally have everything that you could want. They have
everything. Yeah, it's a good plaza.
Yeah, it was cool. We skated there way too late. Got to the campsite very late. At this point, our friend Thad was driving through the area, and so he went to our campsite and set up a fire, and so we met up with him. We camped. It was actually the first time I've ever cowboy camped, like without a tent, just in the sleeping bag under the stars. It was really nice.
Nice. In Wisconsin you went out? Okay.
Mm-hmm. We woke up early, had breakfast, and then we went to a grind lane park. And then if you saw that video, it's the one where Chris was going over that, like, I don't know, rainbow shape in the a deep bowl. We spent hours there. We went swimming after, and then we went to a little DIY called Lily Pond, which was just like this funky little crusty spot. It was really cute. Yeah.
So you were skating for like all day for how many days was that?
It was just 2 days, and we had more spots to go to, but we just died.
Yeah, you gave me like a list of 5 spots already, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot of skating.
We missed a DIY that we wanted to go to, and then Chris wanted to go through Milwaukee to, is it called Continental?
I haven't been skating in Milwaukee, but I'm sure maybe.
Yeah, there was like 2 spots that he wanted to go to, and none of us could do it.
Like, I can go, but
did
y'all go to Tosa?
No.
Okay, Tosa was. I know you really like Tosa.
Is that the one?
I think you'd like that bowl.
It's just a bowl?
No, it's like they have a street spot, and then they have one bowl, and then they have like half a bowl, kind of like a transition spot.
Okay.
But no, we really like that bowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should plan a trip.
Yeah, we should go. So how you recently also were on a skate and surf trip out in Mexico. You went to Sayulita last year, and then recently you went to Cabo, right?
Baja,
yeah. Baja. Yeah. How was that?
Baja was much better than Sayulita.
Okay.
Didn't get COVID, which was nice. But the forecast was a lot better. And I've never surfed as good as I've surfed in Baja. I caught so many waves, like more than I've ever caught in my life, and I was just like super pumped about it. And then I made friends down there that were really wonderful. Skated with those friends. So half the trip was spent near Cabo San Lucas, and then the other half was spent about an hour on the other side, and that was called Cerritos, was the surf area. Or I guess it's technically the beach. Pescadero and Todos Santos were the towns. So I got to skate this hidden secret desert bowl that a skate shop made.
I saw that. I saw pictures of that.
It was so cool.
Badass,
like
yeah.
I had seen it on social media, and I was like, I need to go. Like this looks amazing. Like it was a good shape for me personally, and it was like very high on the to-do list. And me and my friend Kiki get there, and there's scorpions in the bowl.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so we had to go find a broom and try to get them out because they were like the little ones.
Oh, they were the little ones.
Yeah,
They're babies.
Which are apparently more poisonous. I don't know.
I
wasn't gonna touch them. No.
Yeah. Did they come back?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. We swept it clean, got them all out, and then we were there for like 4 hours. It was so hot, but it was so fun.
Yeah, that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Are you planning on going on any other skate or surf trips later this year or next year?
Next Saturday, I'm supposed to go to El Salvador.
What? Yo, wait, is this the trip that you postponed?
It's the trip that got canceled that led me to skateboarding.
Going to.
Yeah. But I don't know if I can go now.
Oh, because of your family situation?
No, the last day in Baja, we went surfing, and I got caught on the inside, which is like where all the waves are crashing. Mm-hmm. It was my mistake. Like, I'm a kook. Like, what can I say?
Yeah.
I got stuck in there, and a wave, like, when you're not on a tiny, like, 5-foot board that people do those turns on, you can't dive under an incoming wave. You have to literally roll over, and they call it a turtle roll.
Okay.
Anybody with a longboard or anything bigger than, like, 6-something needs to do it.
Yeah.
So waves were coming, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm rolling over, the waves crashing over me. At one point, my hands slipped down the board, so like my hands weren't high enough to prevent the front of my board from being lifted from the wave. So a wave came, lifted my board up out of the water, and I go flying with it, and I land on the board and like hurt my shoulder, and I'm like, I just dislocated my shoulder. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm in the middle of the water. I'm going to drown.
Yeah.
And I do the thing that, like, from soccer, like, seeing goalies, like, dislocate their shoulder. Like, I guess you're supposed to shrug. So I'm, like, in the water going like this. I'm like, oh, it's not dislocated. We're okay, but it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
And
so that instinct just kicked in. You're like, you thought soccer, and then all kind of clicked together.
Oh, yeah. I instantly saw this one goalie named Max dislocate his shoulder, it dangling, and then him going like this. It just like played in my head.
I think that's what Karina did with their elbow. Or like what they like, something happened, and they told me that they like plucked it back in.
Gross.
Yeah. Sorry, Karina. I'm like mentioning this in the interview. They're reminding me like, just you have to like fix it back in there. You just have to do it.
I mean, if you go to the hospital, that's what they're gonna do.
That's what they're gonna do. Yeah. But in the moment you were like, I'm gonna drown. I need to do something.
Yeah. But luckily, like I was fine. I like paddled out and told my friend, I was like, I just hurt my shoulder. I don't know. I'm just gonna rest for a minute.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna catch something and go back in. And so I rested for a bit, and adrenaline was pumping, so it didn't hurt that much. But I ended up catching a 6-foot wave, which is bigger than anything I've ever caught.
That?
Like after resting, I was like paddling for it.
Yeah.
And I caught it, and I rode it all the way in, and I was like, cool, I'm done. And then I got on the plane and went home. But the thing is I can't...
Did you go to, like, the ER?
No. No, like, I couldn't move it. Like, I was stuck.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't raise it higher than this. So I went to my physical therapist because it wasn't getting better. And I was like, I'm supposed to leave on the 5th for El Salvador to go surfing for a week. I need to figure out if I can do this or not. And so I've been going to see her... handful of times. Right now, like, I can do the movement, but, like, I'm still having some pain, so it's gonna be a last minute decision on if I can go. And
yeah, because this would, if you postpone it, would be like the third time, right? Or second time that you
it'd be like 3 years later.
3 years later, yeah.
I want to go.
I hope that happens for you.
Thank you.
I'm like waiting for this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, come on, like get better.
Yeah. Send me all the good healing vibes,
Yeah,
please.
I will. It's another question. You skate, I mean, we can go into this or not if you don't want to, but like I know you skate bowl, that's mainly your thing. But I know you get into street a bit. Is that something you think about investing in or not at all? You're like, that's not my thing.
Oh, for sure. I love bowl skating. It's my favorite, but I don't think I should just pigeonhole myself into that one thing. I would love to go skate street and like the other parts of skate parks that aren't just bowls, because not every skate park has bowls. Mm-hmm. I would like to be a well-rounded skateboarder. It's been hard. Yeah.
No, for me too, like I love bowls, but I switch between like street and bowls.
You're really good about doing that.
Yeah.
I made myself practice ollies like for 10 minutes every single session. And this past summer, like you could really see the progress that's being made. But for whatever reason, it's hard for me to like force myself to practice street things. Maybe just because I don't really know what that entails. Mm-hmm. To me right now, I'm focusing like you have to be able to ollie up and down things. Yeah. And so that's what my focus is. And not being afraid of that.
See what happens at Wilson tomorrow.
Oh God, yeah.
That rolling in and rolling out of the ledge.
God.
Yeah. Cool. So I asked this to Marlene too, what is next for you in the next 5 years? Or not even 5 years, maybe like next year or like 2 years from now in your skating, or maybe something else that you're recently picked up on.
In skating?
Yeah, let's start by there.
Okay.
In skating.
My goal, like, this whole year, which I've kind of fallen off from just from being busy, was to be able to do, like, 50-50 grinds in flow. And...
like, lock in and then come out of it, like, really fast?
Yeah, and just, like, instead of going up there and doing a kick turn, it's like, oh, you're doing a grind and you come back in. And just, like, making it look really, like, effortless and, like, good flow. The 50-50, the backside 50-50s are coming along. My favorite bowl, unfortunately, is the Wilson pool, and that's so crusty and hard.
That's your favorite bowl?
It's my favorite bowl. I like that shape.
Better than Cicero bowl?
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I don't know. I can get so much speed in there.
At the Wilson bowl.
At the Wilson bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it's just kind of hard because it's hard to get up on the crusty pool coping and to do those things. And also the walls are a little bit vertical. So that like is a really big goal of mine, is to be able to just do 50-50s in flow. I have the front side 50-50s, but I'm having trouble getting back in there. There's that video.
Are you still doing the
I'm still
tail?
I'm cheating.
Yeah, I cheat too.
Yeah, I like it. It looks cool. Like I actually was able to do it like while like grinding and then moving, and so like a little bit of a tail style. Yes. Tail slide a little bit, which is cool. Yeah. But I want to be able to...
your own style, kind of. Yeah. It adds into it, yeah.
I want to be able to re-enter. I'm starting to learn how to ollie on transition. So, like, coming back.
Like you hit, like, a little curve?
No, just, like, on the wall. Like, if this is it, you're just ollieing, like, front side and back side. I don't know what they're called.
Like, you get little airs?
Little airs.
Yeah.
Yeah, without like, picking up my board with my hand like I usually do.
I know exactly what
you mean. So, like, I would love to be able to, like, fucking just come out of the bowl and not have to hold my board.
Oh, like, ollieing out of the bowl.
Yeah, but going back in.
Yo.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
I have the beginning of a hand plant.
Yes! I need to skate with you. I haven't seen you in, like, 3 months, so I need to skate with you and see all these new tricks.
It'd be fun, yeah. So I'd like to get that. And then, honestly, just, like, more tricks on coping. And like I said, ollieing up and down curbs is, like, my fucking enemy right now. And working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's exciting. All right, we're coming down to the last 3 questions.
Right.
The last 3. I'm hoping to do last 5 for future guests, but we're doing last 3.
Okay.
1 is, what makes you... No, I'm going to save this for last. 1 is, what is your love language?
Words of affirmation.
Okay.
Yeah, if you, like, give me a compliment and, like, it's a genuine compliment, like, especially about my skating, like, oh my God, I'll light up.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I might not, like, really show that, but, like, internally I'm like, yes, thank you.
All right. 2, what are you currently reading?
I'm reading lots of things.
What do you... Fiction, nonfiction, like autobiographical text, or...
So I try not to read, like, heavy intellectual things before bed.
Dense material, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm reading science fiction before bed. And otherwise, I'm reading Women Who Run with Wolves, which is just okay. And then Atomic Habits, which has been a really useful book, just kind of analyzing your life and understanding that you condition yourself to just automatically do things and that you can break those habits. And then I have an audiobook that I'm listening to about communication, just because I'm not the best at communicating personally.
I feel like you are.
It's an effort for me.
Yeah.
There are times when I'm like, I don't really understand how I'm feeling about something and I don't know how to convey that. So I'm trying to get better about that.
Yeah. I think the Atomic Habits sounds really good.
It's a good book. I do recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll read that. And last question, the big question, the question I want to hear about is, what makes you truly, truly happy in life? Doesn't have to be skating related.
Okay. Travel, going new places and experiencing new things.
It's like being out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, it's like the moment where you have the opportunity to grow. Yeah, travel, and probably like personal relationships, people.
Community.
Yeah, those 2 things are probably like really up there.
Yeah, I knew that about you.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to tell me. I already know. But it's nice to know that that's what makes you truly happy.
Yeah.
Any last final thoughts? Words, advice for new skaters?
Advice for new skaters?
Yeah, do you have any advice?
Yeah.
For folks that...
I started skating when I was 32.
I love this. Yeah.
If you want to do something, whether it's skating or something different, just go do it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you can stop. But you should try. Like, always try something that you have a little bit of interest in.
I think we talked about this, like, you never know if you're going to enjoy something unless you try it.
Yeah. You have to give it a shot. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. Get in there, try it, find your community, and see what happens. Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I enjoyed having you and telling us about all these little stories that you have. And excited to put this on there.
I hope it was interesting.
Yeah.